Hello, welcome to my channel. What we're going to talk about today is Hong Kong and the mass demonstrations that are going on there. As you can see, there's a lot of people. Everybody's out. Their life depends on this. This is a big deal. Now, this is the chart of Hong Kong, and we've talked about it before. So as you can see, I have certain areas circled here. In this case, it's Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn, and they're in the 10th house of the government. In this case, Pluto rules death, and we're seeing the people and the government of the people fighting tooth and nail for their life. So what does Pluto rule? It rules bioweapons, it rules power and control, and it rules debt. What does Jupiter tell you? Jupiter puts a spotlight on things, and it blows them up so you can see them. And what we have is massive government overreach, blown up power and control, taking over. And Saturn, what is Saturn? Saturn is the enforcer. Saturn is the boundaries. And when we have Saturn come in contact with Mars, that's when we have the military. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at something that's going on right now. And why are we bringing this up right now? Okay, this is the phases of the new moon, and we have just started out with a new moon. And so we'll look back at the chart here, and the new moon started in Gemini, and Gemini rules communication. And so why now? What's going on with communication right now? Well, when we had the new moon, this chart here is for June 14th, where you see that the moon has actually traveled all the way around the chart. But right now we have the new moon where we have the moon conjunct the sun in Gemini, and Venus is also there, and it's squared to Neptune. And this is what we're getting at. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We have, for the backdrop of this, like we have in many other countries, we have governments that have been taken over by some invisible power, governments that are using massive government overreach to suppress their citizens, and that's basically in every country in the world. And so right now, as you can see, these planets here, which are the slow-moving planets, the big powerhouses that make things happen, they've just turned retrograde, which means we're going back over things that we've talked about before. Okay? So we all know that there's been a debt problem, and debt will come back to raise its ugly head, that the governments, Capricorn, are massively overreaching and claiming powers that they have no right to. And that is enforced by Saturn. And as you noticed, Saturn, when it was 29 degrees, just before it went into Aquarius, we started to get social distancing. And Aquarius is the sign of, give me some distance. And Saturn is the sign of, hey, we need to enforce boundaries. So what did we get? We got social distancing. We're going to tell you the boundaries that you can actually be in contact with another person, what kind of distance you have to keep. Totally unbelievable. Who would have thought of that? But that's Saturn in Aquarius. Now what you got right this minute, right now, is you see that Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are all retrograde, meaning they are moving backwards. They don't really move backwards. Astrologically, they move backwards. It's the way they relate to the Earth. So what when something is moving backwards, you find you're covering old ground. You're going over old ground. You're thinking of these things again. You're bringing them up again. And all these things are in the context that we're talking about. So we started out with the fact that we had a new moon. Excuse me. We had a new moon. It's about communication, and it's not your normal new moon because it happens to have Venus squared Neptune. And what we're going to see here, this is the chart for June 13th. And so as Venus moves backward, it's retrograde also, and it's squaring Neptune. You're going to have Venus, desire, people's desires. The Sun, what is being focused on, communication in Gemini, and the public, the Moon. Okay, so this is what you've got coming to a head. And when is this going to come to a head? What's important to watch for here? We have Neptune, the planet of deception, and it's in Hong Kong's 12th house, and the 12th house is the house of hidden things. So this kind of came out of the blue, and they're trying to manipulate the people, and when is this going to turn into something serious? You can see that, like I said, there's massive protests here, and on June 13th, you're going to find Mars, the military, accidents, blood, hits Neptune, and Venus, the square to Venus, you have the desire of the people, the desire, Venus, of the people, Moon, being circumvented by deceptive practices of the military, Mars, to accomplish Pluto, which is the result of the bioweapon, taking control, using the means of destroying institutions. And that's what we're seeing, the crumbling of major institutions. We're also seeing, as I said, the enforcer, Saturn, with new rules and massive government overreach being deceptively used here and backed by the military. So I hope you enjoyed this. And like I said, look at these people. They're out there protesting for their life and their livelihood and their kids' livelihood. So remember, if you like this, hit the like and subscribe button. Tell all your friends and comment below. Please tell me what you think. What you think of this protest. What you think of how social distancing relates to you and your own personal experience. And watch to see what happens in your life around that same time. There is deception going on, and there, depending upon where you are in the world, there is the police, there is the military, there is oppression for people, and it's all being done in a very, very deceptive manner. So thank you for watching.